to the Bill Mason Show. My name is Mason. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing well. We got a special guest tonight, Brendan Leslie. He's a guy who's we discovered he was one of the boots on the ground down there, getting some actual footage, man, putting himself in harm's way like anybody does these days. And we have him here to talk about some things tonight.
Yeah, it's an actual person on the ground. It's amazing that we can talk to somebody and find out what's happening on the ground. So welcome, Brendan Leslie. How you doing tonight?
Hey guys, thank you very much for having me. I'm doing well.
Good, thanks. And thanks for being here. So you're a conservative reporter. You're on the ground a lot of times, seeing what's going on around the world. And so you were at DC. Tell me a little bit what happened, why you even showed up.
Yeah, so I was in DC not too long ago, and I was just observing these Black Lives Matter protests when the sun goes down. We can confidently say 90% plus of these protests during the day are very peaceful, what I call aggressive peaceful in some cases, where they're screaming in the faces of cops, but you know what, they're not rioting, so whatever, okay, fine. But once that sun goes down, that's when you start to see the instigators from, either side really pushing the envelope to cause a riot. And that's exactly what I was seeing in DC, unfortunately.
Right. I mean, look pretty horrific. I mean, they were saying something about, overthrowing the government, killing cops. So were you scared at all when you were walking down the street?
I wouldn't say I wasn't to the point where I was like, oh my God, I'm scared for my life, but I was definitely anxious and nervous and had to get out of there at one point because I was getting a few threats from some random people, which is odd. Something that has been well recorded and documented with these protests at night is, they police who's in these crowds. They really try to limit who is streaming and who is shooting and recording. And it's probably why the press, the national press, don't go out at night. And that's probably the reason why we're not seeing the accurate full story on the national news outlets, which was a big reason why I decided to go.
Wow, that's amazing. So we're going to show the video and then we'll talk about it after that. Take a look.
I'm at the point where I'm ready to put these police in the fucking grave. I'm at the point where I want to burn the fucking White House down. I want to take it to the senators. I want to take it to the Congress. I want to take the fight to them. And at the end of the day, if they ain't gonna hear us, we burn them the fuck down. I'm one that talk real shit. I talk it in New York, and I talk it in DC. The same way I fuck police up in New York, I fuck cops up here in DC. The same way I bust police in the head in New York, I bust police in the head in DC. Now, it's a lot of people, and I'm gonna be honest, it's a lot of people that's on this front line. And one of the things that I always say, don't get on this fucking front line if you ain't gonna fucking fight. Don't get on this front line if you ain't gonna take no hit. Don't get on this front line when the police fucking push up, you push back. If you're gonna be on this front line and them racist ass, nasty ass, punk ass fucking police is pushing up, you push the fuck up.
Wow. I mean, how many people were there? I mean, all we could see was that one area. Is there more than 100 people or 200 people?
See, that one area maybe had up to about 100 people, but it's hard to see in that video. But that megaphone could be heard all the way from the White House, down 10 blocks south of the White House. So it was loud, and there was hundreds upon hundreds, if not over 1,000 people on Black Lives Matter Plaza, that street where they painted Black Lives Matter in DC, where the St. John's Baptist Church is, where President Donald Trump held the Bible up and stuff. So that everyone could hear it. Everyone could hear it. And right after that happened, someone screamed, "Feds are up the block." Even though that's false, the feds are not in town helping guard DC because their liberal mayor refuses the help from the president. So it's just Washington PD or DC PD. And after that, the guy instantly dropped his mic and everyone starts storming up the block. He said, we're going to charge these cops.
Wow.
And then that's when I went live on my page that you saw me walking with the marchers, they were moving very fast. And it was hard to keep up. And while I was doing it, that's when I started hearing in the background, you could see me like aiming my phone down and trying to hide it. Someone said they're going to stab me in the neck, calling me cracker. It was a lovely scene. So that's the point where I was starting to get anxious and like, okay, let me get out of here.
Right.
And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, you can go to Brandon Lindsay's Facebook page and you can see that video where he was walking. It's like 23 minutes long, that video, I believe. So take a look at that. It was very, very shocking. I know you're scared. So Bill, what question do you have for Brandon?
Well, I mean, I was just going to comment on, I've seen how these crowds can get. We saw what happened to Rand Paul when he was leaving. Dan Bongino had a similar account where, they have no fear of confronting these people. Like when the police numbers are low, they really act out in a way where, it's mob justice. If something does happen, like Rand Paul said in that one video, he was in fear for his life. It was him and his wife and 2 bicycle cops, and it's like, if you get in a situation as a regular person these days, maybe even unknowingly involved in some kind of protest or demonstration, you are taking your life in your hands if you are the wrong color.
Exactly. So Brandon, have you done this before? I know you've been a reporter before. I think you said CBS in your area. So have you done this Black Lives Matter reporting before in the past?
I've been to several protests, mainly in Florida, but here in Florida, we don't put up with bullshit. So right. They've been peaceful, aggressive, peaceful, albeit. But yes, yeah. I have been at these. I do, people mistaken what I'm trying to do all the time. I'm really trying. I'm a strict constitutionalist, and that Constitution and the Bill of Rights, it says you have the right to peacefully assemble. Right. My goal is to rid the streets of these hooligans, whoever they may be, and allow these people who do feel like they're in pain the avenue to protest and not be lumped in with these extremists. Because you know what? I don't care what the issue is. I could completely disagree with why you're protesting. I will always defend your God-given rights. That's really my goal in life.
Well, I agree. I mean, what if we want to protest later on? We have to protect you be able to protest. I agree with that. Except for you can't go out and loot and riot and kill people.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So we agree. Handsomely. So let's take a look at Rochester, New York last night and see what happened at the restaurants. It was very eye-opening. Take a look.
All right.
We're shutting the party down. Nobody's gonna touch you. We're shutting your party down. Calm down. Calm down.
so you think about it, you're sitting there eating dinner and you get this comes.
And that does nothing to further, like, that's not for a redress of grievances. That's just wanton harassment of regular people. That's not, protesting the government for some new thing to happen that wasn't in existence before. Like, it does nothing. And I can't understand why these mayors, and now, I don't know if you look, the whole Rochester upper echelon of the police department all retired today. They just left. So, I mean, this is nuts. This is like, you're literally watching regular people just eating dinner, be harassed for whatever reason. I don't know what gains they're going to get after that protest or whatever is over.
Yeah, what say you, Brendan?
Yeah, it's really just entitled children in my mind, animals that just do not care for anyone. They're just looking for, they're opportunists, really. And they're all just misguided people, that the ones that are really resorting to levels like this.
Yeah, I mean, just think if you're sitting there eating dinner. I mean, I hope and pray they didn't get their check yet and they just left. They didn't have to pay, but still, I mean, poor restaurant owner. Didn't get the money. Shut down for the night. It's a trickle down effect. Workers, could be laid off, or things like that happen. They're not going to show up again. It's crazy. I mean, police needs to be there to protect people. There not be no-shows. I mean, they should have known to be there. Don't you agree?
Yeah, it's just, if you really think about it, all these businesses, especially in New York, since they've been shut down forever and still mainly shut down, have been struggling as it is. And now you got these quote unquote peace-loving and unity protests happening, and they're just furthering, worsening the damage that has already been done by COVID.
Right. All right. Well, I mean, it hopefully, the police all won't retire, and they'll show up for work the next day and protect these restaurants.
You can't blame them for doing it.
How do you get the next generation of police? This is my problem with this. Even if these guys, say I can't work under these conditions, so on and so on. The next batch of law enforcement officers, and I've grown up with guys that are in law enforcement, and they knew they wanted to be law enforcement pretty early on in life. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people on the fence right now, because, like, just for example, today I drive a truck for a living. A guy's pulled over on the highway. The guy happens to be black, and the officers have him out of the car. People on the other side of the road are pulling over to film a regular, like, traffic stop because they're waiting for the next thing to happen. And this is the conditions that we're all under now. And if I was an officer, I wouldn't know which way to go with this. Do I stay and try to make a difference, or do I just say, F it, I'm out?
9 times out of 10, they're saying, no, thank you, because of that reason. And it's because politicians do not have their backs.
Absolutely.
That's true. I mean, what if Biden gets in? Tell me, Brendan, what do you think is going to happen?
Every single police department across the nation will have defunding to some extent.
Okay.
To be quite frank, that's what's going to happen. Biden isn't going to stop it. Trump will.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But looks like Biden talked today about it's all Trump's fault. Let's take a look and see what he said.
Ken?
If you watch the ads, I'm sure you've seen them, although a lot of Pennsylvanians are seeing them because there's a lot of ads out there right now. They would say that you want to defund the police, and it seems to be trying to frighten some folks. Can you set the record straight on that?
I not only don't want to defund the police, I'm the one calling for $300 million more for local police, for community policing. I also think we should add social workers and psychologists to help police on 911 calls. The only person calling to defund the police is Donald Trump. Look at his budget. He calls for cutting police funding for state and local help by $400 million. Once again, he's pathological.
So he's throwing it back on Donald Trump.
Of course. When in doubt, it's Trump's fault.
Well, they're very good. I mean, I have to give the Democrats due. They're very good of deflecting.
Not only deflecting, but bold-faced lying. like look you dead in the eye and tell you a lie and be fine with it. They're the best at that.
because no one's fact checking them.
Right,
Media
because the fact
has
checkers are Democrats.
Yep.
Oh, jeez. Well, it never ends. So, I mean, you think about it. I mean, the censorship's going on. I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, you've been a journalist, all your life, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much? Yeah.
These big social media companies and big tech companies have way too much power. They shouldn't be. The only time they should be fact checking is if it's like something that can lead to the death of people or pain, or something. Like with the drug that none of us should ever mention the name of because we'll get censored.
Right.
If there's truly the science out there saying it doesn't work, then sure, I understand why they're censoring that. But to censor conservative voices in general about general topics such as, mailer fraud is ridiculous. Why can't I have an opinion? Who says the mail-in ballots are going to be perfect? Why can't I have an opinion that says, no, it's not going to be perfect this year? We have an unprecedented amount of mail-in ballots coming this year, and the Postal Service has sucked for 2 decades. How is that something that should be censored? That makes no sense. It's censored because the social media giants are liberal, and it hurts Donald Trump.
Absolutely. And today, Zuckerberg, he says he's preparing the people to accept 2-3 weeks, maybe even a month, to count the ballots, that it's normal, it's acceptable, that he's already priming the pump for this to be like a contested election. And all the social media outlets are starting to do the same thing. They're all saying, and now there's a little inkling of the new chant is all votes matter. So when people start to contest, hey, it's the day after, what's up, Virginia, you know what I mean? Like, Broward County, Florida, where they find these miraculous votes all the time, they're basically going to start chanting, all votes matter, all votes matter. And then we're like, 6 months after the election, we still don't know who won. This is going to be a joke.
That's going to be fun, actually. And I hope it doesn't drag out. I mean, we can't have a Nancy Pelosi as president.
Oh my God.
Temporarily.
The irony of all of this is who's going to be doing the mail-in ballots for the most part? The Democrats, because they're scared of COVID. Right. So if anything, Trump is helping the other side, and they're too stupid to see that.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, talking about HQ, by the way, we call that drug HQ, by the way, on here, because since we can't say the word. Just to let you know, Bill Mason show was the first to call the pandemic, by the way. We were seeing dead bodies throughout the streets in China. Of course, there's no way China has 4,000 dead bodies. So we're calculating around 600,000, if not more, right now. So yeah. So, I mean, we were showing dead bodies left and right. We've been talking about these ballots, too, for a long time. So hopefully Trump, I'm sure he has a plan to nip that in the bud, try to call the election after the night, so we'll see what happens. So back to Antifa. So you posted a video on your Facebook page how these people were coordinated with the umbrellas and everything. We're going to show that video. Now let's talk about it, okay?
Yep.
Like little ninjas there.
That's funny how ineffective the umbrellas turned out to be, because the main angle was still there. The umbrellas did nothing, but
they were coordinated though.
They're very coordinated. I mean, they're out for destruction. I don't know what else is on their agenda, but it's definitely destruction.
What do you think, Brendan?
Yeah, they're just terrible humans. If you ask me, everything that's wrong in the world goes back to the breaking down of the family structure here in America. No longer are the days where you have a stay-at-home parent actually raising the kids, so no values or ethics, and this is the result. Entitlement, kids who expect everything handed to them. And what are they really protesting for? The real Black Lives Matter organization, it's Marxism, and Marxism doesn't want the family structure, doesn't want what America is. And so that's the point that a lot of conservatives are trying to make when you support the Black Lives Matter organization. Of course, Black Lives Matter. Everyone thinks that. Of course, it's brilliant marketing when you chose that name because they knew it would get misconstrued in the messaging when people say they're against Black Lives Matter. When you're supporting the organization, you're really supporting this. This is what's going to happen. And that's why they're saying it's Biden's America, because Biden supports the organization.
Right.
And if the organization gets their way, they have control. And if they have control, you're going to have more of that in those streets.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's definitely, they're more towards socialism, communism. Their flag represents that too as well. If you look at the 1933 Germany anti-fascist flag, it's the same thing except for it's backwards.
And it has, I might be off a little bit, but I'll give you the general point. I was speaking to a woman from Venezuela, and she said, I think it was Venezuela, one of the South American countries, and she said that their symbols are literally exactly the same as their dictators down there who everyone hates, and they can't believe, they honestly were laughing at Black Lives Matter, saying, wow, this is pretty pathetic that you guys are using the symbols of dictators that have destroyed our countries down here.
Right. I mean, that's what they want. I mean, the one reason why I went to Trump is Americanism versus globalism. I can't stand globalism. I mean, I've been around the block for many, many years, even though I don't look that old. I've been around the block for many, many years, and I have seen globalism destroy this country.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's what they want.
That's why China wants Biden to win.
Exactly.
Trump, people harp on Trump for putting tariffs on China, but all he's doing is bringing more jobs back to America. It's incentive to bring it back to America. You don't want to be dependent on these countries. If you're dependent on a country, you're not a country. You're their pawn.
I agree. What do you say, Bill?
Well, I think the COVID thing kind of brought all that to light. How reliant we were on the Chinese for the low level products like masks and gloves and even the regular antibiotics and diabetes meds and stuff that they make. I mean, we really went all in during the Obama administration. I think it took something like this to open up people's eyes that, maybe there will be people running, some conservative people that will be kind of like, hey, look, we learned from this situation. We can't let all our eggs be in China's basket because they're not our friend, honestly,
Yeah, they're definitely not our friends. They are definitely our enemies. I mean, they're building islands in the South China Sea. You can't float by them. You name it, they take our jobs. They're just troublemakers. So we have a video. We're going to go to something else. We have, I don't know if you heard about Kyle Rittenhouse. We had shown videos about what happened from the start to finish. We're going to show him speaking from jail. He was defending himself when he shot 3 people. Take a look.
Yep.
Guys, what do you want to say to the foundation and all the people that have supported our efforts to free Kyle? We have John Pierce, lead attorney for Kyle Rittenhouse, and we have Kyle Rittenhouse, direct from county jail. Guys, what would you like to say to the fans?
I just want to thank every single one of you from the bottom of my heart for the underlining support. It's just amazing. I want to thank all of you for the mail I've been receiving. It's been really helpful. I just want to let you all know that I'm going to be out of here soon, and stay strong, and I hope to see you guys soon.
And I want to say that this is 100% self-defense. If this is not self-defense for Kyle Rittenhouse under these circumstances, then no one can protect themselves, no one can protect their family, and no one can protect their country. This is a watershed moment in American history. A very bright line has been crossed. The right to self-defense is a God-given right, and we are not going to allow a prosecutor in Kenosha, Wisconsin, to take it away from Kyle Rittenhouse. Thank you so much for all the support.
There we go. So I mean, it's just true. It is, this whole 2020 is a watershed event. What say you, Brendan?
Kyle Rittenhouse should be penalized in some sort of way, but not for murder. He was 100% justified in shooting those people, but you have the problem of him crossing state lines with a weapon he does not legally have the right to own, and that shouldn't be ignored. I'm probably one of the few conservatives that actually brings light to that. What kind of hypocrites are we to say Antifa should be charged for destroying stuff, but not also charge someone on our side who is breaking the law. And shame on her, on his mother, to be honest. His mother was the one that brought him over, knowing damn well what would end up happening. That's just terrible parenting. But at the end of the day, he's a 17-year-old kid, probably knows nothing. And she put him in a very dangerous situation and probably has ruined his life. He shouldn't be charged with murder, but he does need some slap on the wrist for, we can't allow these militias to keep just breaking the law. No one should be breaking the law at the end of the day. We can't preach law and order, but then not also follow it.
Right, I agree that you have to follow the law, and I wouldn't let my 17 out with a gun going downtown with a bunch of mob people trying to break everything. So, I mean, that is bad parenting. I agree with that.
It was like she was dropping him off to the movies. Like, bye, Kyle. Have a good day. Do you have your AR? You got your mags? All right, honey. I'll see you later. I mean, come on.
But I have to admit, the guy was cool and collective.
Yeah, very, very cool under all that chaos.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not saying the kid was trained or anything, but I mean, a lesser person might have fired into a crowd of people. He really only addressed the threats that were right close to him. You know, that's one thing I will speak in that sense, where a 17-year-old kid, you know, gets scared, could empty the mag into the crowd, and it would have been a different case, you know?
Yeah, can he own a gun at 17 in that state?
You cannot own, he did not have legal right to own an AR at his age. He has to be 18.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And he brought it across state lines. And it's a big no-no. And this is just making the conservative side look bad.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, somebody must have bought it for him, I guess, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, any parent could just go buy it,
Yeah.
have it in the house, yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll see what happens with him. He might be out on bond, and we'll see what happens in a trial. So we have some Biden flops. So we're going to take a look at that. He cannot make a sentence, but let's take a look and see what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Look, one of the things that
I hate this governor.
That I think is really important is that we somehow put that back on. There's somehow that we're in a situation where, and in addition to that, we have to make sure that we are in a position that we are. Well, let me go to the second thing. I've spoken enough of that. I will make an education that, in fact, thank you all for taking your part, fulfilling a part, being part of. And it honors your heroism now, not yesterday. We needed yesterday. I unveiled a plan: social distancing and wearing masks, which I never do when I walk outside of this house. I never fail to do. Now, one day, on day one, I'm going to send the legislature. Lonnie knows I believe this every fiber of my being. We're posed. What I proposed is it can be done. COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. When you think about it. Let's move it up here. You know, there used to be a basic bargain in this country.
Oh boy. So you're saying you're talking about the governor. So do you like the governor, Tom Wolf?
No, he's horrible. I used to live in Pennsylvania for 2 years.
Okay.
The fact that Pennsylvania has a Democrat governor is beyond me. It should be a deep red state. But unfortunately, you got Philly and Pittsburgh running the show out there, and it's terrible. And forget about the millions of people in state who are actually very Republican. But back to Joe, I feel so bad for the dude. He's just not there, and it's clear as day. This is the Kamala Harris show. It's not Joe Biden.
Right.
And it's really pathetic of Biden's family to allow him to go through this embarrassment. If the guy wins, you're talking about he's going to be like 82 at the end of his term.
Mm-hmm.
Can you honestly say he's going to make it through that? No.
No, I agree. So, no, he's not going to make it. Kamala Harris is going to be president, and she'll pick somebody whoever vice president. So, speaking of Philadelphia, Bill is the expert in Philadelphia. Isn't that right, Bill?
Oh my God! I wish I wasn't in such close proximity to Philadelphia. But you know what Brendan just said is right. There's basically two metropolises in this state that ruin it. You know, for the rest of the state, because all you have to do is drive 15, 20 minutes, you know, outside the city limits, and like, you know, we have Trump stores in Bucks County. You know, it's like it's a totally different world, but like the politics are ruled by Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and all this. And I mean, you know, he's in those top 5 governors that put all the COVID recovery people into nursing homes. You know, no coincidence there. You got Newsom from California, Cuomo, Murphy from Jersey, Wolf, and Whitmer. I mean, they all did the same thing. And they, you know, it was like their numbers alone add up to almost 80,000 deaths if you just took those 5 states, you know. So I mean, they're terrible at what they do. They don't know how to govern. I mean, it's awful. And putting Biden in office is like elder abuse. It's not even right. That dude needs to take naps like, you know, 4 times a day. There's no way he could be president.
See, the problem is the Democrats are always going to keep dominating, really, because they own the media, they own our college universities, and they own big tech.
Yeah.
All 3 of those are working against us, and no matter how much, that's why there's really a silent majority out there. So these leftist radicals can continue to mess up, and it doesn't matter because no one's going to call them out.
Yeah, I mean, in 2016, the anointed one was supposed to have been Jeb Bush. And it wasn't supposed to be Trump. Trump wasn't even put on the radar.
We dodged a bullet.
But see, you know, throughout my whole history that I've followed politics, they always anoint somebody, and it's not an election. They push the one person that they think will do whatever they're bidding, and Jeb Bush was the one that was supposed to push.
To me, it spoke volumes about the fact that the American people elected a non-politician. And it seems like it's like a growing kind of like a theory that a non-politician will come in there and get stuff done, you know? And if Trump does succeed, I think it moves towards more non-politicians, maybe getting a shot at getting elected as, you know, congressmen. You know, taking these career politicians out is probably a good thing, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, just so you know, Brendan, Bill is from Pennsylvania. I'm
Yep.
from Florida, so we're talking about 2 states there that one is right now lefty and one's righty right now. So
Yeah.
But anyway, so you know, going back to you, so I know you're working on something right now. You have something big maybe coming up, and then we have. I mean, are you planning on going back out there and hitting the streets again anytime soon?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't want to say when and where, but yes.
I don't blame you. I mean, you're kind of known now. I mean, you're getting your face out, so you're kind of like, you know, do I show my face or what? Of course, you'll have a mask on, so they really won't know who you are.
Yeah. I'm going to be a little more sneaky moving forward.
Okay, good. Because we want you to be safe. We don't want nothing to happen to you. So
Honestly, they even have a way to ID. From what I heard, they're Antifa people. You know, you would think like, oh, I could wear a black hoodie and a face mask and I'll blend right in. They do certain things where they put, you know, like gang members, a bandana in the left pocket or something like that. They always have this little kind of trigger thing that they can pick each other out. They make sure, you know, it's really hard to blend in with them. And that's like what he was speaking to earlier. They want to police who's filming. You know, they don't really want actual footage of them doing dastardly stuff. Like, you know, that guy that shot the Trump supporter, he had no idea that other camera angle even existed, I don't think. The one where he's hiding behind the brick wall and then he comes out and just caps him. It was a hit, man. That thing was not like an instigation or a street fight. That was a hit on that guy.
yeah, exactly. I mean, so Brendan, so I'm going to promote your page real quick, so the listeners can find you. So again, go by and go to his Facebook page to see his where he was walking around DC at Brendan Leslie, and it's spelled BRENDONLESLIE, and then that's at Facebook, and then we have same thing at Twitter at Brendan Leslie at Twitter. So take a look. Make sure you follow him. Of course, make sure you follow us too. Of course.
Yeah.
So, Brendan, so let's go over some last words. Do you have any last comments? Any words of wisdom?
Keep up the good fight and preaching the conservative way of life. It really is the right way of life, and pun intended. I look at everything objectively, and 90% of the problems in our nation tend to lean towards the right, meaning the right knows what to do to fix them and will fix them properly.
Right. You can tell by the Democratic cities. So agree with that. Bill, do you have any last words?
I'm hoping that these debates kind of hash out anybody who's on the fence. I'm hoping these debates happen, and I want to see Biden all amped up on Adderall like they do. Apparently, they give him a bunch of Adderall to keep him awake for 2 hours. But I really hope that that's the last dividing line and kind of pushes everybody who was unsure over the edge to our side.
That's exactly what's going to happen. Exactly.
Amen. So that's the show tonight. I appreciate you watching. Thanks, Brendan, being honest with us tonight and showing your side. And let's take a look, and we're going to say good night.
All right. Thanks for coming on, Brendan.